Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome back. Wow, how do we introduce our next guest other than the fact that he's seen all over theDove TV? He leaps tall buildings. He outruns Peterbilt trucks. He has more energy than any one person should be allowed to have. And I have no idea what he puts on his cereal in the morning, but I want some of it. Todd Friel's with us, the host of Wretched TV. Hi, buddy.
Always a treat to be with you, sir. I'll try to calm down.
Why?
Clearly, my strength was not in my hair. Look, just for you, I used to have the tallest hair in Christian TV. Well,
Yeah.
no, that's really not true, is it?
I noticed that. You got a haircut. You got trimmed a little bit there. Yeah. Hey, Todd, nice to have you. By the way, thanks for your show. What a hoot. And we're honored to air it on the Dove TV network.
No, we're thrilled to pieces to be on the Dove Network. I promise you, we are just thrilled to pieces. You guys do an excellent work.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, a lot to talk about. Let's just kind of start off. What's your take on this whole Bergdahl debacle and the exchange of him for 5 Taliban bad guys?
I haven't heard a thing about it. Is there something going on? Kidding. Wow. Okay. Just for whatever this is worth, I really, you run your family. I will endeavor to run my family. This is not to tell anybody how to book their calendar, how much TV to consume or not. But I think with stories like this, we've got to be careful that we are aware we're in the world. But if your TV viewing is consumed with following a story when perhaps you could be doing other kingdom work, just be careful that you don't get sucked into this big black hole of the latest big story that we're told is all consuming. I love following this stuff. It's intriguing. It's like a different category of entertainment TV. You know, it's not those bawdry Hollywood shows, that show you what the celebrities are doing. Yeah. It's kind of a political thing. It can be a Christian's gossip. And so we have to be careful. Let's know the details. But at what point do we need to keep listening to this story over and over again when there are souls to be saved? So just a gentle, loving admonition to check your calendar and see how much time you're spending watching this particular story. Yeah,
it's gotten a lot, and but it doesn't seem to go away. It does. It is significant in a lot of ways, and
there's no question. But Perry, here's what I've noticed: they aren't talking about the things that I think are the most intriguing. We're getting a lot of the political details. Was he a deserter? That's fascinating, gripping stuff. The one that surprises me that nobody's talking about much is that the president had this fellow's dad in the Rose Garden who spoke in Arabic saying, "In the name of Allah, the most gracious and compassionate," while wearing a beard. I guess he could maybe be trying out for Duck Dynasty next year's season. But it looked to me like he was wearing an Islamic beard while thanking Allah, the most gracious and compassionate. And most people in this country didn't really bat an eye. And more than that, Juan Williams, who is one of the most likable liberals I've ever seen on TV, he, when this was brought up on the O'Reilly program, said, "Hey, chill out. This is America. You can say whatever you want to." And I went, now, wait a second. What would have happened if during World War II, a similar trade had taken place and FDR brought the parents of a soldier who had been traded into the Rose Garden, and the dad of the soldier said, "You know, my son's having a hard time speaking English these days, so Zeke Heil, Zeke Heil." Everybody would go, well, that was just plain wrong. Yeah. Why doesn't anybody say, that was just plain, if nothing else, inappropriate today?
Well,
Why aren't we pointing that out?
It's just beyond our imagination. But it did happen. You know, the excuse that we're hearing now is, well, we don't leave any American behind. But didn't we do that in Benghazi?
Yeah, you know, and I get the principle. Charles Krauthammer, I thought, said something interesting, as he typically does. By the way, Charles Krauthammer, fascinating to watch from a conservative political standpoint. Right. I paged through his book. he's not a big fan of Bible-believing Christians, for whatever that's worth. But Charles Krauthammer said, you know, as a civilized society, we value life. Those people do not. And so inevitably, these trades are going to be bad because we put a different priority on life, but then do the terrorists. I thought that was somewhat helpful. But where is the critique of Islam? Where is the critique of terrorism? Where is the critique of this fellow's dad talking in the name of Allah? It seems that political correctness has blinded us to what is obvious. Perry, undoubtedly, you've been tracking the story of the young woman who had her baby, and as soon as she's done weaning her child, they're going to kill her because she won't deny Jesus Christ. We don't talk about anything because our political correctness, I think our minds are darkened, Romans 1, blinded, and we just can't see what is evil anymore in this world.
All right, let me just camp on that thought just for a moment, Todd. You do enough of it, and I do as well with live interviews and things like that. I am hit pretty hard because people are saying, why do Christians even go there? This isn't edifying. We shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Let's go out and evangelize and get people saved. I get all of that, but since when do we dismiss killing human beings as nothing? I don't get it. You know?
Yeah, no, I have you been reading my emails?
Yes, I have. They come to me before they go to you.
I get that. And again, we want to watch our balance.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're not just immersed to the point where it's becoming gossip and unprofitable. I understand this, but as a Christian, I will enter the arena in which my compassion is demanded. I not to be trite or silly, but I find it hard to imagine those same Christians would see a burning house and not rescue somebody who is screaming because, well, you know, we've got to be evangelized. Look, I'm all for evangelism. I love them. Are you kidding? We do it all the time here. But my compassion cries out to help people. That's the Christian informed heart. We care about people.
We have a philosophy hiding in a religion in this world, killing innocent people, and we Christians are silenced from talking out about it as being evil.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because, you know, we've been following all of these other stories these days. I call it the new morality because Christianity, we're living in a post-Christian culture. There are fewer people now, less than the majority of people are attending church on a weekly basis. We've never seen that in our culture, where less than half of the people attend church on a regular basis. We're in a new America, and the Christian informed morality that used to exist, the norms, societal conventions, are now being replaced with a new morality. And Perry, because it's not grounded in anything biblical or objective, it's a complete dog's breakfast. It's a complete hash. Nothing makes sense. Feminists don't complain about Muslims because even though they're treating their women so poorly, and you wonder what is going on there. Charles Barkley can say sexist things about women in San Antonio, Texas, and nobody bats an eye, and you go, well, why don't they criticize their... It's because it's the new morality, and there's nothing consistent because it's not grounded in biblical morality.
This does provide, Todd, a unique opportunity for the faith community. I don't know what kind of mail you do get there, but here we get a lot of letters and emails, good and bad. But it does boil down to a couple of things, and that is, if I was to categorize them, they're asking two questions. What is truth? And who can I trust? I mean, that's being handed to us a golden platter. The truth is the gospel, and the one you can trust is Christ.
Yeah, isn't it funny that Pontius Pilate asked that same question 2,000 years ago? Yeah. And truth was standing in front of him. Now, I know the Christians lament. They don't believe the Bible, so I can't quote it. Everybody thinks it was Charles Spurgeon who said, how do you defend a lion in a cage? You don't. You open up the cage and you let it out. How do you defend the scriptures? You don't. You use it and you let it cut like the two-edged sword that it is. So when somebody says, well, you're just using your Bible to talk about truth, just say, I know I am. I'm just telling you what it says. Well, I don't believe what it says. I know you don't. I'm just telling you what it says. And we proclaim the truth, knowing that the Holy Spirit works with his word to convince the world of sin, righteousness, and judgment. We have the truth. And so we just need to be proclaiming it and let God do the convincing work that only he can do.
Well said. Before I take a break, you know, we've had a couple of tragedies here in the Pacific. We had one yesterday just outside of Portland, a school shooting, and then the week before that up at Seattle Pacific a college. How do you deal with that on your show?
Very, very sensitively. We need to be good theologians. We need to present the way God presents himself in the Bible, which means he's in control of all things. We need to do it very thoughtfully because people are actually hurting. These days, my concern, Perry, is that a lot of Christians talk about God as if he's the Red Cross or 411. We have to inform him about a tragedy, and then he comes to the rescue and hopefully takes something good out of it. The theology of sovereignty informs us there's something different going on in the universe, that God is running everything, involved in everything, including school shootings, and it's our job to dig into our Bibles to figure out what is he doing, because I believe when we do that, we will find great comfort in knowing about God and how he is working in evil situations, rather than trying to say that God, he's just not aware of it and he's responding too. I don't think that's a hopeful or helpful response. I think a biblical response is, even though it's a harder message up front.
All right, Todd, let me take a break. I know you don't know if those are on your show. And when we come back, I want you to deal with something that I think is somewhat of a cancer in Christendom, and that's cynicism. I'll let you respond to that when we get right back with Todd Friel, host of Wretched TV, here on theDove. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and our good buddy Todd Friel is back with us. He's the host of Wretched TV, seen here on the Dove TV network, and 9 o'clock weekday evenings, and sometimes we just throw it in around just so we can catch somebody else at a weird time with it. And oh no, now he's got his intellectual look on. He's got his glasses.
That's exactly what I was going for there. Does it work?
Well, not. You know, your new haircut and your glasses, you you almost look too academic for me, Todd.
Nobody has ever said that to me.
Yeah.
These are, I think I got these at the grocery store. These are, I'm a 1.5.
As long as they
told
work.
Me this would happen, and I'm a 1.5.
Yeah, I only need them when I want to see. Listen.
Okay, Perry, I kid you not. At restaurant, because I don't carry them around, and I don't have that, the librarian thing where you hang them down like that.
Yeah.
Here's what I have to do at the restaurant. Literally, kids, hold the menu so Daddy can read it across the table.
Yeah.
Because this just is not happening anymore. The reason I put my glasses on, though, Perry, I wanted to read can I read it? Can we still read a Bible verse publicly? Is that still okay?
Yes, go ahead. You can do it on this show. Go ahead.
Okay. You better do it quick, otherwise $2.5 million for you.
Yeah.
This is Lamentations.
Okay.
This is a Bible verse that is very hard to hear up front, but is ultimately very, very comforting. Who is he who speaks it and it comes to pass? We're talking about God here. When the Lord has not commanded it, is it not from the mouth of the Most High, here's the tricky part, that woe and well-being proceed? And what's being presented by Jeremiah is, when we see bad things happening, calamitous things, we need to understand they are from the hand of God. But we've got to make a distinction. God does not cause evil. God permits evil, like a school shooting at Pacific. He permits it. He's aware of it because he is going to use that sin sinlessly. He is not unaware of it. He's fully aware of it. He doesn't like it, but he permits it because he does everything not to his children, but for his children. And so with that knowledge, rather than shaking our fist at God, we can submit to God and say, all right, Lord, what would you like to teach me? How would you like to grow me? Show me how to respond to this rightly, not blaming him, not accusing God. God permits it, but when we see a calamitous thing, a difficult thing, when we see a storm or a hurricane, we can say that is directly from God himself, doing something hard for us. Now, I know that's hard up front. And if you're facing a calamity, you've got a sick child, it's very, very difficult. But we need to understand that God does everything for his children. He's not capricious. He's not in a bad mood. He's not unaware. Our physician never gives us a cup of poison. It's always good for us.
Well, that's beautifully said. Thank you, Todd. As we were going into the break, we talked a little bit about cynicism and how cynical people have become, to the point where, why bother to engage in this culture? These are the last days. God is now actually orchestrating all of this stuff. So why get in the middle of it? Why bother? And out of that, we come away with, I mean, if you listen to conservative talk radio today, there's no hope. I mean, it is hopeless conversation. Turn it off and go for a fast for a while, you know. I don't know. Do you want to respond to that?
If I'm listening to conservative talk radio, and there's nothing wrong with that, we're talking balance here, you're right, it is hopeless because they aren't talking about anything hopeful. As a Christian, I can see everything kind of going up in shambles, and I can respond like Habakkuk. This is a great Old Testament verse. Habakkuk is seeing his country under siege, and we're talking about real physical siege here. And he's crying out to God, Lord, where are you? And God responds in just mind-boggling ways. He said to Habakkuk, oh, I'm doing a great thing. I'm doing something so amazing, you won't even believe it. I'm raising up the Chaldeans to wipe you out. And you go, wait a second, that's not very comforting, Lord. We need to remember God is working. We might look at it and think it's a mess. He's orchestrating everything just right for those of us who are in Christ and for his glory. So unlike talk radio, I can look at these news stories and not be troubled. I can sleep just fine at night because I know who is writing all of these stories. It's God himself. And let me just say this too, Perry, if you don't mind. What you're hearing on Christian or on secular talk radio, the news stories that you see on your local news, it's this much of the evil that is going on in the world. Right now, people are blaspheming God's name. People are committing adulterous acts. People are fornicating outside of marriage. They're not married. They're committing grotesque acts physically. They're greedy. They're covetous. The sin in this world is far worse than anything any news broadcast can capture. And if we just focus on that, we're going to be a scared people, but we're not. Because God is involved in everything, writing everything exactly the way that he wants it. And when I trust that, I sleep just fine.
Good for you. Because sometimes what really gets to me is the selling of fear, and even sometimes showcasing it in God's will. And I'm wondering, well, wait a minute, where's the hope in that, you know?
Yeah, and you know, Perry, it might be that we are, like, Jesus is right around the corner. It could be. It could be 20,000 years. Maybe we're still in the early church period. I don't know. But Jesus gives us these signs, not so we can predict the date, but so that we can be reminded he's coming back. And all of the evil that we see will be dealt with in one of two ways. God will pour out his wrath on these evil people, or Jesus will have received the wrath of God on their behalf. Either way, justice will be satisfied. All of the wrongs will be righted. God will take care of it. It's not mine to go about being vengeful. God's going to deal with it one way or another. And so I can say it is well with my soul.
How do you think, Todd, we can get the culture to see the church as a hospital and not a museum?
Yeah, you know, the church is a great witness to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And Perry, the truth is, I think the Christian church does a tremendous amount of great stuff. We really do.
Right.
We don't toot our horns about it, but we're the number one adopters. We're the number one givers. We're the number one feeders. We're the number one well diggers. People don't hear about it. They will know we are Christians by our love. I think that we do bear those fruits regularly, but the one thing that I would encourage the Christian church to be doing along with that is to be vocal proclaiming the gospel, to be proclaiming the good news. The world right now is hopeless. We've got hope. My encouragement would be, church, keep up the great work because you're doing great work. Now, let's tell people about the great work of Jesus. And then when they hear the gospel, our good works will support our confession of faith.
You're hot. What'd you put on your cereal this morning?
Actually, blueberry pancakes. Mrs. Friel made some blueberry pancakes. They had to cook on the grill for about 10 minutes. They were so thick.
Oh, that could be a little tough. Yeah, chew on one of those for a week. Hey, listen, we're going to have you come out and do one of your shows out here. We're building our new studios, and when we're in, maybe sometime next year, come on out and do a show out here.
You know what? It would just be a joy. And let me just say again to the viewers who are watching, not every Christian network, maybe you know this, is a great Christian TV network. You're watching a great one right now. So thank you guys.
Thank you. So where do you see the Lord taking you, Todd? You got a remarkable show. It's very different, very different. I mean, you use every emotion in the world there. How would you describe your calling?
Well, what I'd ultimately like to do is I would like to create more Christian TV shows. We're working on one right now. There's a wonderful book called Finally Free for men who struggle with pornography addiction. We're taking this, it's a terrific book by Heath Lampert, Finally Free.
Yeah.
We're turning it into a 1-hour TV show.
Really?
So that people can see this and understand, hey, you have felt like there is no hope for you. There is hope for you when you apply theology rightly. So we're trying to create more quality Christian TV shows.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because we feel very much led to get in content development. That's the future.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So where are you with this show? Are you going to have it available soon?
Yeah, actually, we're bringing in Heath Lampert. He's going to be here in a couple of weeks. And then we got to, you know, all the stuff that goes into making a TV show. We're also working on a program with Scott Klusendorf from Pro-Life Training, outstanding pro-life apologist. Always raising the question, what is it that is inside of a woman? It is a human, and we don't kill people. And we're turning that into a 13-part series so that we can be pro-life apologists and have testimonies of women who have had an abortion but have found forgiveness in Jesus Christ, so they don't feel that burden of guilt of killing their own child. They can hear there is hope if you run to Jesus.
Wow, I'm impressed. That's good stuff. I think our portfolios are more parallel than we think.
I think so too. You know what? I'll tell you what's really been helpful. You know those little energy drinks that they sell at the really helping us out here.
Yeah, well, watch it. I'll be doing addiction counseling with you. All right. Well, listen. Just a little bit of a political commentary from you. Last night, Eric Cantor got handed his hat. What's that tell you?
It tells me that everybody was talking. I caught the TV too. You know, I don't live in a cave someplace, so I'm watching the TV, and everybody's the power of talk radio. And I went, oh no. Talk radio does not do anything to the constituency. The constituency is there. Talk radio just represents it to some degree. In this country, there are a lot of faithful people who love the Lord, who are trying to enter into the arena of politics to do good for people. You know, the big gay issue that everybody's a little bit weary of. You know, the secularists, they promote a lifestyle that ultimately ends their life sooner. We Christians, we want people to live. We don't want them to die. And we're considered the bad guys and the mean guys. We're entering into the arena where our compassion is demanded so that people can live and experience life. And it shows me we should be encouraged. There are a lot of good Christians out there that are putting feet to their faith.
Well, Todd, you're an inspiration and a delight. People that want to correspond with you, what's your website?
It is wretched.tv, as in wretched man that I am. Wretched.tv, as in Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound. Oh, wait a second. We cut that line out.
No. It's just don't take up singing. That's certainly not part of you.
Believe me.
All right. Hey, thanks, pal. Thanks for your time. Blessings to you. Keep up the good work and keep us in the loop when you do those other programs. Our hand is in the air to air them for you.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Todd Friel, host of Wretched TV, seen weekday evenings at 9 o'clock right here on theDove TV. There he is, Mr. Intellectual himself. Kind of want to be. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.